Hi. It's about a week after the disastrous little recording of the first intro to the first part, and you can see that these fins are fixed now. They were broken in two places and the tips were totally destroyed. I think you remember, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I hope the light is enough. If it isn't, I'll clip in a picture here, but you can see that they are more or less like new. Now this part isn't going to go this way, you know. You can see that it's almost done now. I have some little things to do with the head and some color adjustments on the body here, but that's not much. But this part isn't going all this way, all the way here. It's going to cover the vermiculation pattern and spot pattern on the body and how I created that primarily. So let's get on and see where that is going. So let's start with a short recap of what happened in the first part. I started with something I call antiquing. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I call it. I covered the whole fish with dark gray, and then removed most of it with a wet sponge to reveal the base structure. Then stippled the whole thing with yellow to get a base color, and broke through down to the silver base with alcohol in places to create the white silver halos for the blue-red spots. Finally, I covered all that with blues to create the dark green, brown, gray base color of the body. And that's where it all ended in the first part. The next step would be to create the yellow spots and the vermiculations on the back of the body, and also to define this line towards the yellow in the belly a bit better. And I'm going to go on doing it the same way as I made the white-blue spots here. But before I do that, I actually need a little bit of a white shine in these blue spots, a little bit more. So I'm going to use the same method again, alcohol and a paintbrush, and I'm going to try and just remove just a little of this blue here by just dabbing on a little, and then a finger like that to bring out a few sparks from the bottom of the paint layers here. First on all the blue spots. I don't want a lot of alcohol anywhere on these spots, just a little, and my finger is just right to remove what I need to remove. But if I get a little bit too much like there, I just leave it and let it dry up, and then I'll go back and redo it if I need to. I think that's enough. This isn't going to be the final shade on any of these spots. I'm going to go in and like strengthen up the blue, strengthen up the yellow that's coming out now, and all that, because I'm just bringing out the basic pattern. So now I'm going to start doing yellow spots, and I'm using a smaller paintbrush, and to remove what I'm dissolving a bit more controlled, I'm using Q-tips instead. They are giving me quite a good amount of control, I think. So if I bring out the spot like that, and then just dab off so that I don't get a sharp edge. And the same goes here, jump around so that you don't get too symmetrical in your application of spots. When I go into an area like this, I consciously avoid the center of this empty area, because that would create this even distribution that I don't want. And if I'm putting a spot between two other spots, like here for example, I don't put it in the middle. I always try to be closer to one of the two spots. Again, to create that random impression. I'll stop there on that side of the lateral line, and let's go over to the belly line. I'll use a stiffer paintbrush for that, which makes it possible for me not just to remove paint, but also to create a bit of a ragged edge. You see that I'm actually taking some of these spots away because they are actually getting into the area that I have removed all the green from. I think we have that line quite well defined. Two now. So I can go on to the dorsal side of the lateral line and go back to the little brush and the Q-tip. And from what I have seen in my reference photos, the vermiculations starts pretty low up at the head, maybe right here at the end of the operculum, and then it goes gradually slightly up towards the rear of the fish. So the spots I'm going to put on are going to be below that line, but I'm going to put a few spots up there to join the vermiculations later on, because that's going to make the transition look more natural. I'll stop there. And now it's the vermiculations, and it's pretty much the same thing there. Make it random. So I start by putting a few out in different places without thinking so much about where they go or how they go. I need to merge the vermiculation into the spot pattern a bit too, so that there isn't this distinct border between the two. Oh yeah, this is the way it looks now. I did all these vermiculations and the spots and all that, and then I decided that this green brownish gray area was a bit too opaque. It's actually breaking through. The yellow underneath is actually breaking through in places in the color of the, you see, it breaks through. It's not just an even color. It's a bit variegated, whatever it's called in English. But anyway, I'm trying to do that, and I decided I would just try to break through with a little alcohol and a very thin paintbrush, and I just went over it and, just dab like this all over the surface, just to break through just a little tiny bit. I'll go close so you can see it everywhere in the green, to make it live a little more, and I think that turned out pretty well. So my next step now is going to be to create these red spots. And the blue, show you again, taking it off again. The blue is actually a bit whiter towards the center, towards the red. And I'm going to try to make that a little bit better, because this blue is, well, it's okay, but it's not the kind of blue that I really want. I want it to be a little bluer, and I want it to be a little whiter in the center. So I'm going to start with trying to make the centers a little whiter, and 3 drops of pearl and 1 drop of white in there. And then I'll go with the transparency 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a double amount of transparency agent to the pigment paint here, and that's what I'm going to use now. See how that works, and go on these. I'm going to have to look to have it close. Does it show there? Yes, it shows. 1 dab of this, and then just spread it. Oh, strong brush. Just spread it with a dry brush. Yeah, that's going to work. Put on a little bit of this in the center of each spot. and just push it out. This is also subduing a little bit of the structure or texture in the center of the spots, and I think that's good for the red. You know, pearls and metallics are very strong blockers, so if you want to block something out, you can always use a metallic paint or a pearl paint to kind of block it. And for the blue, I think I'm going to use the same cobalt blue as I used before and stipple a little circle around this white spot now. So let's see. 2 drops of blue and this is going to be transparent. 3 times as much transparency agent. We'll see how it works. Yeah. Yeah. Some of these spots are on the bright side, a little bit too bright. And I think the trick there is to take some Payne's Gray. I have it's there, Payne's Gray, well used jar, very thin, very transparent, and just dab every here and there. Payne's Gray. Two drops of Payne's Gray and 10 drops of transparency medium. We'll see what how that turns out. I'll start on the other side. That has been drying for a while now. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect. And this is the way I normally paint. I just search for the tone that I want by applying transparent coats of different. I can use 3 or 4 blues to find the right blue, just layering them on each other like this. So that's that point. Now I'm going to have to experiment a little to get the red that I want. I think I know, but I'm not sure, so I'm going to make a few tests before I go on. So I made a few tests, and as you can see, and turned out that I think this Naphthol red is going to be quite close, and if it's not exactly spot on, I will adjust that with another red later on. So let's start by trying Naphthol red a little and see what happens. And the same procedure, just a little drop, stipple out, drop, stipple out, drop, and I'm going to repeat this where it's necessary. I might go over it a third time, maybe with a little bit less bluish red that time. But for now I'm just going to let this dry, and then I'm going to seal it again, so I don't have to redo everything if I need to take that red away. So that's where we're at now. So I went over the red spots one more time with this shade here, which is actually an orange red, bright red orange in the golden series, and it might be a little bit too orange in itself, but when it blends with these blue red spots that I had before, I think I found quite a good shade of red there. So now it's on to the yellow, which is actually too green. It needs to brighten up, almost go towards a little bit towards white, and I had two bright yellows that I was trying to find the right one, and I settled for trying to put on a little bit of primary yellow first. That's this one here, because it's almost going towards white, and this is the really brightest one I have, and I think that is going to get close to it, and if it doesn't get all the way in there, I can adjust later on. And I'm going to have a 50-50 mix of this yellow and the transparency medium. Take a few more drops here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And transparency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. need to remember to put my lid on. Where is it? On the other palette there, so that it doesn't dry up. I use that. I use the water jar. And there is some moisture in this paper between the two lids there, and that between these two lids, and it's keeping it quite moist and nice, and I can keep it like that for several days. There we are, I think. Let's try. And I need a stippling brush, which is right now a 12-0 really thin brush, a little bit stiffer than the other stippling brushes I have used for the alcohol. So let's see now. I'll just go in with a little bit on each spot here. And see where that ends up. And some of these spots are rather dark and some are brighter. So I am probably going to go over some of them more than once, and some will not get that much. Yeah, this is probably it's good, but I think I'm going to make these up here. The shade of the yellow is going darker and towards the green, so I'm going to have to darken that down a little, and that's generally over the whole dorsal side of the fish here, so I don't need to like go into these little patterns with that. I think I might have to darken parts of the dark pattern here too, and I think these lower spots are going to be a little bit warmer in tone, which means using maybe the Hansa yellow that I had before, or maybe the Dairy-Lied yellow. And then I of course have to put some yellow on the edge towards the belly, and then when that's done I'm switching over to orange red for the belly, and then some black and white in the bottom of the belly. We'll see in which order I'll take that. Right now it's going to sit here while I rest my head a little.